Alright. Ladder is now on top of this truck. Let's get up in that tree and take out that wasp nest. Oh, shit. This is Tales from the Crawl Space Podcast. Not OSHA approved.
Hey, you guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Tales from the Crawl Space Podcast. I am, of course, your lovely and personable host, Brad Harvey, and with me in spirit and in truth is the one and only Jack Starry. Jack, what is up, my man?
What's up, my brother? How are you?
Oh, you know, it's Friday night. I'm a technician once again, and I am tired as fuck. But you know what? I'm ready for a good show.
I'm guessing you have a nice tall glass of bourbon sitting next to you.
Absolutely, you know. And once again, you know, it's great because when I buy a 1.75 liter bottle of bourbon, I can pimp it for weeks on the show because once again, Evan Williams bottled in bond, 100 proof, aged for a week or two, and it's tasty shit, Jack.
Nice. Like a cheerleader in a football locker room. Goes down easy.
You got that shit right. Hey, what is how you doing on your inventory of old style?
I am actually working through some of those tonight. I got one cold one in my hand, and I got two others in Tales from the Crawl Space koozies sitting next to me, just waiting for this one to be finished.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I tell you what, it's better broadcasting through alcohol.
It is. It really is.
So hey, well, looks like we got a good show. I've got several stories actually, and it's going to be great. But speaking of podcasts, Jack,
yes, sir.
You and I were guests on a couple of podcasts, and they both dropped this week, and it was really blowing my mind because I figured there'd be some space between the two. But doggone it, we got double donged on this one, man.
Well, I'll tell you, we were whoring ourselves out pretty good, and it's not just a coinkydink that we were on two different podcasts and we'll be off for 2 weeks.
Exactly. So that, you know what, Jack, I think that would be a good time for our 12 listeners to maybe check them out while we're gone. We're taking a brief hiatus. I'm going to be in Tennessee, and Jack's going to be out whoring himself as usual.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one that we got to a guest on is one that's called Shit That Goes On in Our Heads. And I got to tell you what, this is probably one of the most, well put together, professional sounding, podcasts I've ever heard, and they have a good time with it, and it's a lot of the focus of the hosts, which are G-Rex and Dirty Skittles, are mental health and the importance of a nice clean spot in your head for everything. And ironically enough, they picked two of the craziest bastards that ever graced the podcast world when they asked for us to host. And it was a great time, though. I tell you what, talking to those two ladies was just incredibly awesome. It made me feel like we are actually good at this, Jack.
Yeah, no, I tell you, and I just found out from G-Rex yesterday that they're going to be in a premier podcast publication. They did an interview. I tell you, they're a juggernaut. They are picking up listeners left and right, and they're trending in different countries. Their scores are going up. It's amazing. They've done such a fantastic job with it, and I was really, really honored to be on one of their episodes.
Oh, so was I, and I can't think of two gals that deserve it more than Dirty Skittles and G-Rex. It was really great.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so, from the sublime to the ridiculous, we got to guest on one called Michael and Jeremy Steal Your Podcast. Very interesting show, to say the least.
Those guys are zany. I mean, they're crazy. I mean, it's almost listen to them banter back and forth as they kind of just took over the subject matter of our podcast. It almost was like you and me just being smart asses for for 45 minutes. So it was great.
A complete departure from shit that goes on in our heads. Don't get me wrong. The shit that goes on in our heads was we had a blast. And on both of the shows we got to be ourselves, and I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. So after tonight, for the next 2 weekends, we're going to be on hiatus. So you have Michael and Jeremy Steele your podcast for 1 week, one Friday, and you have shit that goes on in their head for the next one. And give them a lot of love. Give them both some reviews on their sites, please, and tell them that Pest Control Humor Depot and Tales from the Crawl Space sent you.
Yep. G-Rex, Dirty Skittles, Mike, Jeremy, we love you, man. Thanks a lot for having us on your show.
Definitely.
I hope you're listening. You fucking better be listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here talking to you, Jack, and we're talking about this stuff, and I'm looking at this gigantic hole that I've got in my arm.
What?
Yeah, I got this big fucking hole. I was today was McMansion Day on my route, and so I got to do a lot of 4 or 5 600 or 6,000 square foot homes, and so needless to say, you start to get in a little bit of a run. You get in the zone. You're not thinking about stuff, and next thing I know, I've got a branch sticking out of my arm from somebody's shrub. I was trying to fucking get out there. Yeah. And, and it's one of those situations where if I, talk to my boss about it, they're not going to say, oh my God, get the med check. Just rub some dirt in it and finish your route.
Pour some tussin on it. Pour some tussin on it.
Put some tussin on it. Just lick it. It's blood. It's iron. It's good for you. But anyway, it's crazy what some of our employers will make us do in the interest of making them a buck, and regardless of whether or not it is OSHA approved, the spice has got to flow, man. So so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about things that you wouldn't do in any other instance other than the fact that your boss tells you to. And, it could be some dangerous shit. It could just be some really stupid shit. But either way, it ain't the right thing to do, but they're going to fucking tell you to do it anyway, in the hopes that you survive the experience.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, the one thing I've seen a couple people comment on the depot is like they have one box of gloves that's supposed to last them a month. Yeah. They keep on taking them off and putting them back on and taking them off and putting them back on. I don't know if that's an OSHA violation or not, but goddamn, that's just wrong, man. They're just
it's like my brother
gloves.
Daryl. He gets 4 days worth of use out of each pair of underwear. First he wears them the right way, front pocket, opening in front, and then the next day it's opening in back, and then he turns them inside out, and then it's opening in front and opening in back again. He gets almost a full work week out of every pair of Hanes.
That's almost like Union Jacks, though. You can open the hole in the back and just poop.
That's true. Oh, you talking about the kind you used to see in cartoons with the little buttons and the flap that comes down?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was for pooping. I always thought that was for some of that buggery.
It's for sexy time.
Yes, buggery on the high seas. Oh.
Yo ho, a butthole is for me.
Yeah, it's yo ho and a bucket of. Okay, we'll say rum. Oh gosh. Well, hey, yeah, exactly. So as always, you cheese bags at Pest Control Humor Depot, my favorite group. We ask you for stories, and you come through. And
yes, you do.
Once again, this week is no exception. Let's start on with one. We got a Bob AA brought us one. He says, years ago, I was a PC tech working at a little company. Our wildlife team, Termite Guy, and I were all at a new start for a customer in Big Canoe, a neighborhood of North Georgia, renowned for building huge, expensive homes on the side of a mountain. Oddly enough, the McMansion Day for me. It's not uncommon to have a house with a gutter line 10 foot off the ground at the front, only to walk around back and have the roof 50 feet up. Preach it. Preach it.
Oh, yeah.
Damn. Termite Guy got there first. Wildlife Guy's next, and I arrived last. While working my way upstairs, I find a bedroom with a ladder stuck halfway out a window. Wildlife Guys didn't have any ladders taller than 40 foot, and the back of the house was almost 60 foot up. There were 3 floors, basement, sub-basement, and then ground continued to slope away. Their solution was to extend a ladder out the top floor window, have 2 guys balance on the side that was indoors, then have 1 guy outside standing on the rungs of this ladder running metal. Running metal while they maneuvered the ladder by swinging it back and forth like a horizontal seesaw so he could reach the length needed before relocating to the next window and repeating.
Oh, my God.
I turned in my notice the next morning and never looked back. Holy
shit.
This is like Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey shit right there.
I'm sorry. I don't know 2 people on this planet that I trust enough to hold down one end of the ladder while my ass stands on the other, sticking out a window. You know, I love you, Brad, but I ain't doing that.
I'll be honest with you, Jack. I don't know if there's any person that should trust me to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know? Yeah, you just never know what I got. You just never know my opinion of you. I'm
sorry. They got a pissed off dog. That fucker comes running in the room. I guarantee both them motherfuckers hopping off that ladder.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Or say a couple of yellow jackets comes flying through that window. I got to swat them fuckers off, man. I'm sorry, Bob. I love you, man, but you know, bees.
I'm not getting
yellow
stung.
Jacket. Yeah, I ain't getting stung for shit. I don't get stung for nobody.
Well, I got a 40-foot ladder thing to tell you. This did not happen to me, and but a company that I worked for in the past, doing an apartment complex, they had a birds getting in the soffit at the top floor of this garden apartments, 3-story apartments, and they sent one guy out there with an aluminum 40-foot ladder. He was trying to get this thing up against the building by himself, and right at the corner, because it's like a Z, like a Z almost, but straightened out, where the one roof line comes and it dips back like 3 foot and then continues on. Inside that inside angle is where the birds were getting in the soffit. Now, at the outside part, farthest out, the power line came to the building at that corner. This dude wrestling this 40-foot ladder, and you know, if you step on a pine cone, that ladder's going to go off to one side a half a foot, and then the fucker's just going to take you for a ride when you're because 6 inches down on the ground is like 8 feet up above when it swings out. Right. Well, the guy tagged the power line with the fucking ladder, and the shock blew his fucking big toe off.
Oh crap!
It blew his entire fucking big toe off. Yeah.
Good God.
And the next day, after OSHA found out, the company had every truck we had to stick longer at the shop while they fitted us and put brand new fiberglass ladders on every single truck.
Bravo.
But it took a dude losing a toe to get it.
Man. I don't know what you know what? You know, you take your big toe for granted. I'm telling you what. I mean, I used to, back when I was dating my wife, when we were just dating, I used to call her my big toe, and she goes, "Why you call me that?" I said, "Because I banged you on every piece of furniture in the house." I mean, you take it for granted. I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to walk without a big toe. I mean, it gives you so much support, but you never think about it. Like, hell, to have that fucking thing blow off by a bolt of electricity, fuck that.
God damn. I can only imagine what the inside of that boot looked like.
It's like it's a toe tartare. God, man.
You pull your foot out, you're like, wait.
Caper short of a full appetizer.
You pull your foot out and go, wait. Because you don't know it's blown off yet. You just know it hurts.
Yeah.
So you sit down and you take off the boot and you're like, I'm missing something.
Yeah, the only way you're going to get it out of there was a piece of crusty bread.
Yeah. Kind of shake it out,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is. Well, hey, let's go to Sancho. Sancho. Jack, I'll tell you what, man. Names like that, they're just such macho, solid names. It's like I'm Brad. I'm Brad.
I'm Jack, but I'm
Jack,
Sancho.
Brad. Yeah,
And my
but
pantalones are in fuego.
God damn it, when I go somewhere and I order food at a restaurant and they ask me for my name, I am Gustavo.
Oh, I'm this guy was a show writer back in the 80s and 90s. His name is Dick Wolf. You can't get more macho of a name than Dick Wolf.
Yeah, Dick Wolf. I used to have a history teacher in high school. His name was Dick Chew. Dick Chew. I'm serious, man. Fucking yearbook. I was like, oh my God. Would you rather call yourself like Richard Mastication or something like that?
I feel sorry for any woman named Sharon Peters.
Sharon Peters, that's right.
Sharon Peters.
Yeah.
She's a whore, man. She's Sharon Peters.
Yeah, we call our band teacher name was Sharon Peters, but her real name was Mrs. Fleming. But anyway. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm sorry, Sancho. We kind of went off on a goat path, but let's get back to you, buddy. All right. So Sancho's so it goes like this. I was working a warehouse job as a forklift monkey, an 18-wheeler that I was unloading emergency brakes. Just let go. I was in the back end of the trailer and I saw that fucker was moving and I jumped out of the lift of the truck onto the loading dock. The warehouse manager was screaming at me saying, why did you jump out? You needed to secure the forklift first. I said, fuck that. I took my lunch. Best part, I did not get fired.
Yeah.
Not get fired. I would have fucking quit.
He was getting a fucking piggyback ride in an 53-foot trailer. Jesus Christ.
Hell yeah, Jack.
Fuck that shit.
Damn it. Let's see.
Well, that means Sancho's pantalones were in fuego.
Yeah, so muchas gracias there, Sancho.
and for another Latin American friend of ours, Mario says this is a good one. This is a doozy. A few months ago, I was to assist a team at a new client, a vegan burger factory. He goes, as a carnivore, in my personal opinion, I think combining those two words should at least get you a night in jail. On that particular day, the situation required a thermal fogging to be carried out in the factory. I don't know if there are regulations in the U.S. that prohibit this, but here in Brazil, it's possible to do it. But before it starts, I had to seal off a room so that the fog wouldn't enter because there were food items in there that would be processed the next day. So I told my colleague, I'll go in and seal the room, and then you can start the application. I expressed myself poorly, and my colleague didn't understand that he should wait for me to exit before beginning the work. He started the application while I was still inside the factory. The factory was large, with a low ceiling and lots of partitions and walls with thermal insulation because all the production was done under refrigeration. Mm-hmm. We entered from different locations, and the sound was muffled. Suddenly, the fog completely engulfed me, and despite the lighting, all the walls were white. I couldn't see anything, and I couldn't find my way back. I thought to myself, I thought to myself, okay, I'll put on my respirator and wait for the fog to dissipate. But I didn't realize that my respirator had a stuck valve, and when I breathed, I was inhaling that fog. Oh. The solution used contained cypermethrin, which irritated my throat, and I started having difficulty breathing. It got worse, and I began to panic, managing to scream for help. Fortunately, or by divine providence, the factory's maintenance supervisor heard me, found me, and dragged me outside. I was already slightly cyanotic, but conscious. I drank a lot of water, which relieved the irritation in my throat, and then I started breathing better. In my 22 years of this profession, having even worked in thermal fogger factory and being familiar with the process, and having done perhaps thousands of applications like this, I've never experienced anything like it. I genuinely thought I was going to die from suffocation. The lesson here is communicate clearly and check your personal protective equipment before starting the job.
Amen. Oh my gosh. Well, God, that damn it, Mario, we're glad you survived the experience because you were an awesome guy.
Hell yeah.
Anybody that knows, this particular Mario is somebody that we've talked to before in a previous show. And oh yeah, he's great. Salt of the earth, this guy. So,
fuck yeah. He's a great guy.
Glad he survived it. So, speaking of, fogging, Jack, that's one of the biggest, pains in the ass when it comes to safety is, especially when you're doing a thermal fog. Cause once you get that shit going, it's like, you're like in that white room in the Matrix. You can't see fucking shit.
Oh no.
So,
yep.
there's things that you just got to deal with. And, I'll tell you what, man, as far as I'm concerned, just the regular, the NIOSH respirators that we're given with the canisters and stuff. When you're doing a thermal fog, those things don't do shit for me. I'm breathing that shit in and everything. I think the particle size is just little. And there comes Jack pulling a train.
That's right.
Let's all pause for a moment and just drink this in. Yeah. Good. It's like the train is a special guest on almost every episode of Tales from the Crawl Space.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
And thermal foggers, they got it. They got dangers of their own. You have one flame out on you. That's always an enjoyable experience. I was doing a bakery operation here on the southeast side of Indianapolis, and I got to use my good old Black Hawk fogger. Yes, Black Hawk. Okay. Yeah, Black Hawk. Yeah. So, I know, there's some people really go for a Black Hawk, but anyway, so
is it bigger than the normal foggers?
No, it just looks that way because it's painted black. But anyway, so I'm getting that thing going, and we were doing every so often I would have to treat the grain silo or the flour silos and what was known as the broth deck. Now, the broth deck was just basically a tertiary level that was above the broth room. And that would be notorious for, small, stored product pests kind of hanging out in there. So, we'd hit that with the thermal. We'd hit the silos with the thermal and the silo room, not actually inside the silos themselves. Put some pheromone monitors out, just kind of keep track of everything. We used to not do that, but when we started doing that, we saw a dramatic decrease in the amount, and it really helped us with keeping within our thresholds and so forth. Anyway, I digress. They had done some construction, some remodeling in another part of the building. They had added a vent leading out from this broth deck into the main office area. And without letting the pest control technician know about it, I proceeded to release the Kraken. And when I released the Kraken, there was a mass evacuation of the front office. Thank you very much. I did that.
Oh, oops.
That's right. And I'll fucking do it again.
Well, I'll tell you about fogging, not thermal foggers in their factory or nothing, but I watched this new guy on his first mosquito job, mosquito fogging job around the outside property. Ritzy people, nice big piece of property. They got those Leland cypress trees on the border to the next house over. Well, the next house over has got a bunch of kids and a mom with way too much plastic surgery hanging around the pool. We got a thunderstorm rolling in, so the wind's kicking up. And he's sitting there trying to fog these fucking Leland cypress, and the wind's just blowing it clear across the fucking through the trees into the neighbor's yard while they're out there at the pool, and the fog's just blowing across the top of the pool. And I'm trying to scream, and he's got that fucking steel backpack fogger, and he doesn't hear me, so I'm like running at him, telling him to fucking stop.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Speaking of, I did 4 mosquito jobs, 3 or 4 mosquito jobs. I don't know. It was a long day. I can't. It's all a blur. But I did a number of mosquito treatments today using our misting machine. And I went to one particular one. I want to back up for a second. Jack, you know about this, and because I shared it with you when it happened today. I finally got to eat my first slice of Casey's General Stores pizza.
Oh,
and I'll tell you
yeah.
what, I will tell you what, it is, it is the best road pizza ever. If you're going to, if you guys got Little Caesars where you're at, and you get that lunch combo, which is great because, for 4 slices of a pan pizza and an actual bottle of pop, is like $5.99.
That's not bad. I've done that before. A few times.
Yeah, I've done it before. Thing with Little Caesars is they go nuts with the sauce. And if you're trying to drive and eat a piece of hot fucking Little Caesars pizza, you're getting sauce all down your shirt and everything. Yeah. It's just a fucking mess. Casey's,
it is.
They whisper the word sauce on the pizza.
Yes.
And which is fine because you still get the flavor of the sauce. And you get the cheese, and if it's been sitting in that pizza go round for a couple hours, that cheese sets up nice, so it's going to stay put on the pie. And the crust is really good. I was really good as as a good gluten or gluteny. It's got high gluten flour, and it's just a really tasty pie. A great thing to eat when you're driving, because you won't make a fucking mess of yourself.
Nope, not at all.
But anyway, so, of course, all pizzas are judged by their pepperoni pizza, all pizza places. So I got the pepperoni pizza. And the thing about pepperoni pizza with me is it does create some air south of the border. And the best thing to do when you've got the farts is to do a mosquito job, because those fucking misting machines are so loud that nobody hears you. And so I'm out there, and I'm serious. I am just crop dusting this guy's driveway trying to get my mister started. And finally get it started. I put it on there. It's like, okay, I'm home free. I'm doing the house. I'm working the front, working my way to the back. And all of a sudden I see this fucker run. It looks like he's got no clothes on except for a pair of underwear. He's holding a laptop, and he's running across his backyard trying to get to the house to keep him from getting misted by me.
What?
Yeah. And there was no bologna sandwich was involved, but I bet he would, because this is out in a nice community, very big yards, heavily wooded. They're waterfront property, and yeah, something tells me that dude was out there fapping it in the lake.
I was gonna say he's out in the bushes watching porn on a laptop.
He's got a lot of exposed skin, man, and I would have misted the shit out of him. But he just running up there. I was like, I'll be a son of a bitch.
It works for perverts too, apparently. So
I guess so. Yeah, that stuff will repel mosquitoes and most perverts.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm going to be enjoying some Casey's Pizza when I head out to you the last week in October.
Well, now you know where to get it, because it's right off the 70 there in the Greenfield exit.
Yep. And that's where I stopped last time. I'm like, I got to stop for Casey's Pizza. Goddamn it, Casey's Pizza is a shit, man. I tell you, I'd get a 30 pack of Old Style for $4 and a Casey's Pizza, and I tell you, it smelled like a biohazard the next day. But goddamn, I was happy.
Oh, I bet the hell it did. Yeah. So anyway, I'm making my famous barbecued ribs when you're out. So yeah, you're in for a treat. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Hey, speaking of gas bags, Dan Bird got to contributed a couple of things. So he goes, after working for a rigid rule abiding boss at Ragnar Lothbrooks for 4 years, I left after being used and abused, but with a very solid core training and hyper-vigilant safety practices, of which I am eternally grateful. I first went to a slightly smaller competitor, but still a good-sized outfit. After a couple of months, I got sent to treat a hornet's nest on an apartment building. I pull up, and it's way, way up there. I call my service manager, who had 3.5 years less experience, that they hired off the street when he came in trying to cold sell them a corporate cell phone plan, mind you, and asked him if he could track me out a 40-footer and a bee suit and hold the ladder while I get up there and treat it the way I was trained, which at the time was 2 cans of PI, wait 5 minutes, plunge your bulb duster through the sidewall, and blast away. This man pulls up 45 minutes later with a termite rig. Confused, I said, "Did someone else need this? Did you run out to the wrong tech? I needed a 40-foot and a bee suit when I called. I'm assuming Termidor is in there," and he proceeds to say, "Yes, it's Termidor." To tell me, he asked the GM with 30 years experience at the time what we should do, and he told him, "Take the termite rig. He's a smart kid. He'll know what to do." I was dumbfounded. So I told him, "No, God. I in fact do not know what to do. That's not how I've ever treated for hornets, so I'm going to have the office reassign the job to you, And you could go ahead and do it if you're comfortable, because I sure the fuck am not. Sorry. Gave my notice the next morning and explained to the GM why. And he proceeded to tongue lash me. that I was attacked. And whenever I hear tongue lash, I don't care what context it is. It's just like, I left Ragnar Lothbrooks as a service manager and I was to do what I was told. They were the decision makers, blah, blah, blah. I walked out.
Oh, fuck them. God damn.
Oh, my God. We'll get back to Dan goes on, but we'll get back to him for here in a minute. But, oh, my gosh. Hornets. I mean, I'm sorry. You're treating a hornet nest with Termidor. Yeah, if you want to wait a few days, it'll die off. But, why? And it's like,
I like that instant gratification of obliterating a bald-faced hornet's nest. I really do.
There is nothing like it, man. And the ones that are high up, I don't care too much for it because I'm fat, I'm old, I'm lazy. I like the ones that are like real, like in the lower parts of the tree that I can just put my bee suit on, go over, put that nest in a headlock, jam a fucking aerosol in there and say, yeah, you want some of this, motherfucker? Yeah, I got you. And just watch as they pour out of the damn thing after I pull it out. And then just take my pruning shears, pop it off of there, and then just sit there and rip it open like it's fucking, some chick's ass that I'm about ready to toss her salad. And I'm just like, yeah.
Like you're going to tongue punch it in the fart box. Like you're going to tongue punch in the fart box.
Tongue punch in the fart box. Don't think I'll be tongue punching a hornet nest anytime in the near future.
Well, I got to tell you, for me, either you can call it stupid or you can call it brave. But first of all, let's see if you can hear my third beer opening.
I did.
That's my third old style of the night so far.
Wait. I'm next.
Okay. Let me hear it. Oh, yeah.
The velvet pour.
Makes you want to touch yourself.
Oh, I already did.
You were pre-show prepping.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of hornets, first of all, I have to mention that I saw that our woman in pest control guest, Jerusha Riopel, got nailed by a bald-faced hornet and got stung, and second time in her career, which, hey, that's not bad. 2 times. I only got stung twice in 26 years, and when I tell you what I'm going to tell you, you'll probably wonder how the fuck that happened. I've worn a bee suit twice. Once was in a little gable storage space on the second floor where the roof kind of comes down and cuts off part of the upper part of the wall, where the room's more narrow. But where the gable is, they've got these little storage spaces. And in the back of the storage space was a hornet's nest. They came in through the outside and started building it inwards into the gable space. And my big ass crawling on my hands and knees to get to that. I'm like, nah, I can't back up that fast. So I'm going to have to wear a bee suit for this.
Yeah.
So I wore it for that. And one other time I think I wore it because my supervisor was standing there and I kind of had to. But usually I'll just put the ladder up about 2 foot away to the side of the nest. And Wasp-X turns into a foam when it sprays. So I'd slowly get up there and nail the opening with Wasp-X and let that foam expand, and I block him in there. And then I grab my Centra bulb with Dryone, I jam it in the side, and just start unloading the entire bulb in the fucking nest. And they're all in there trying to get around it. They're just every time they flap them little wings of theirs, they're spreading the Dryone around. And I don't have a bee suit. I'll just sit up next to the motherfucker, and if a couple get out, you stay still. Stay still. Because they've got great sense of smell, but horrible fucking eyesight. So as long as you're not moving, they think you're a tree. You're not a threat. As soon as you start swatting, you're a problem, and they're going to make it a problem.
No. So I get what you're saying, Jack, but damn it, this is the first job that I was ever issued a full-on bee suit. The idea of a bee suit to the Scarlet Letter, they get us this thing. It was like half, it was a jacket basically. It's like, well, yeah, you just put on the Tyvek suit and then the Tyvek suit and then you'll be fine. Fuck that. Fuck.
Oh
that
my God.
Long. We had to attack hornet nests with 100 psi coming out of a gas powered power sprayer with Sidekick CS, the most dreaded of all products, and but basically just drowning them. I could have taken a damn garden hose and done the same thing.
Yeah.
Because those hornets are up there getting that stuff on them. And it's like, I tell you, God, essay, and you're just, but William the Merciful, my new boss, has full on bee suits, and I love it. And I'm able to just walk up there like I own them and just take care of business. And I don't have to worry about standing still, looking like a tree, whatever the fuck. I can just get the job done. I can do and then to get to go off on another tangent. I get it. Dust works great on hornet nests. If you have 2 hours to spare. Because this is like, I'll put some dust in it, and then we'll come back in a couple hours. We'll take it down. No, fuck that, man. Let me tell you something. A can of Pro Control fogger. You open that, you turn that fucker on, you jam it in the hole, and you sit there, let it empty out. All them hornets are instantly dead, and you can get on with your life. And
I wish I would have known that.
And pass go.
I wish I would have known that, but I don't do it. I'm going to come back to the nest next day or a couple hours later. When I dust that motherfucker and when I seal him in there, I'll wait about 15 minutes. I'll stand up there and watch it and listen, and then I'm tearing that motherfucker apart. So I'd like the first thing they see is my ugly ass angry face while they're breathing in drone dust through the little sphericals on their head. Fuck them motherfuckers.
15 minutes? No, that's too long. I want them to think they're being caught up in the rapture. It's like, now you're here, now you're not. And it's like, so.
Godzilla.
Did Brad do that, or did the Lord do that? I don't know. I'm a hornet. What the fuck do I know? I don't care. It's okay. Get the job done. The customers love seeing bee suits, man. Nothing gets a Susie Homemaker, damper than seeing a dude in a bee suit.
Makes me moist.
That just makes me moist.
That Michael Douglas, that's the only white man that ever made me moist.
Hey, you're going to talk about relations. Relations is beautiful.
That's fucked up.
Ooh, I used to have relations. I'm talking about having relations with myself.
Come on, Cletus. Come on, Cletus.
Yeah. You walk over, but you limp it back. Take this knife and stick it right in the crack of your ass. All right.
Hercules.
All right. Oh, let's get back to Dan before he starts. I don't want Dan to feel unloved.
No, we love you, Dan.
Oh, yes, we do. All 6'5" of you. All right. So I moved on to another slightly larger company comparable to Ragnar Lothbrok's, based off a relationship I cultivated with the residential service manager because we lived one town apart from each other, and he'd been trying to recruit me. So again, I go in as a tech. But they know I know what I'm doing, so they trained on their software and procedures for 2 days and turned me out on my own. Unfortunately, the need they had was for a commercial tech, so I didn't get to work under the guy who brought me in, but whatever. I'll go where I'm needed. After about a month and a half, I have a job on my route that says commercial service manager will meet you at this location to walk you through the service. To myself, I was confused because a tiny pizza place shouldn't really require supervision unless they specifically ask that a manager be present at the service, which at point, why not just do the service yourself and use the man hours and tech for something else? Then I found out why. He shows up, B&G in hand, Termidor in his service kit. Pops open the B&G, tips that Termidor bottle over and twists the cap. Playing dumb, I asked him, are we starting with the outside? I've only ever used Termidor in a backpack sprayer. Is that B&G specifically for Termidor or on the outside or something? Nope. He explains to me that they had a horrible roach problem for years. The only thing that solved their problem after threatening to cancel was when he went in there and started using Termidor treatments to the entire interior perimeter. I want names.
What the fuck?
I want fucking names. Kitchen, and I have a personal reason for wanting names. Kitchen perimeter including legs of appliances, behind stoves and hood vents, the whole nine.
Oh, my
and they had
God.
been doing this once a month for the last year. I respectfully said I'm uncomfortable with that and would prefer not to be involved in that treatment. Fucking men.
Goddamn right.
Motherfucker looked at me like I was a pile of garbage. He said, okay, you can move on to your next job then. I'll do this service. I went back to the office because I knew the GM was there and explained to him, and the answer he gave me was, yeah, sometimes you have to do what you have to do to keep the customer happy. It was a $32 a month pizza place.
Good God.
What
the fuck?
That, and a lot of you guys already know why this pisses me off, but nothing pisses me off more than hearing stories about doing what you have to do to make the customer happy, and it always ends up being something that you're not supposed to do.
The label is the law.
The label is the law. Yes, we hear that, and it's like a worn out mantra, but God damn it, it's true, Jack.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It fucking is.
Yeah, because it is nothing for ag, state chemists, whatever regulatory entity that keeps their thumb on you in your state, for them to go in with some nice clean Q-tips and a couple of test tubes and swab an area and find fipronil in there. And if they find any fucking fipronil in there, then you got some problems.
Unless it's Max Force FC, and that's your only hope if it's Max Force FC.
Oh, Jack, do you know they have a product now called Fipronil Plus C, I think it's called, that can actually be used inside now.
Oh, shit.
Apparently there's something in it, I believe it was cellulose. They've added cellulose to it that prevents Termidor or prevents fipronil from breaking down into the fipronil byproduct that is really bad for you when it's inside.
Oh, God.
And,
wow.
Yeah, this has actually been, I was like, you guys are about 11 fucking years too late with this shit. So, yeah, so it is available. Now, the only problem I have with this, I hope to God that they figure out a way to discern between the two fipronils. And because people are going to be putting Termidor inside all kinds of shit now, I'm afraid.
My vote is still for Phantom Plus.
Phantom Plus? Yes, Phantom Plus.
Don't do that, people. Don't do that. Don't use Termidor or Taurus or what's Thor, whatever it's called. Don't use that shit inside. And to kind of piggyback on that, when I first got back down in Virginia, I was searching for jobs, and this place in Manassas, mom and pop joint, hired me, and I was riding with this one tech for the first day. This tech had been doing it 2 years. He was talking to me like the man fucking knew everything. Because when you hit that one spot of time in your pest control life when you're first doing it and you think you know everything under the sun and you really don't. That's where this guy was, and he was trying to teach me. And, I was open to listen to whatever they do in the area or whatever works for them. That's great. I'm always willing to learn something new. But we pulled up to this house, and they were getting, get this, a pre-emergent cicada service.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Yep, pre-emergent cicada service. Mm-hmm. And get this, the guy was using the generic form of premise, imidacloprid, and spraying the entire lawn with imidacloprid. Now, there's several problems there. One, it's not on label. Two, they didn't have a turf and ornamental license. And the company didn't have a turf and ornamental license. Neither did the technician. So when he started doing it, I said, "What's in the tank?" He goes, "Oh, it's this stuff." I'm like, I said, I'm going over there across the street, and I'm going to sit over there on the curb, not even on the same property you are, because when the Department of Ag rolls up, I want them to know I don't have a fucking thing to do with what's going on here. He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Dude, I want nothing to do with this." So I said, across the street, I took a picture of him doing it, and then turned around. I did like a video of him and turned the camera around to me. I'm like, "What the fuck?" Because I wanted to make goddamn sure they knew I was not on property when that shit was happening. So he rolled the hose up. They were charging people $150 for a pre-emergent cicada service, which it's useless. It's not going to fucking do anything. And we got in the truck. I'm like, "You need to take me back to the shop." He goes, "Why? What's going on?" I said, "Dude, just fucking take me back to the shop." "Why?" I said, because I'm not fucking working for a company that pulls this bullshit.
No shit.
So he calls the office when I'm in the truck in the passenger seat and tells them, oh, yeah, man, he says he's not going to work here anymore. And the boss is like, well, you tell him to come in and see me when we get to the shop. I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. I got my lunchbox and my keys. I'm going the fuck home.
Yeah, no shit.
I got the goddamn car. I left.
About?
There's not a goddamn thing to talk about. You can keep your fucking money. I'm gone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm going to bring the room down a little bit because I want to read this story. This is Dateline June 23rd from Pompano Beach. Regarding a furniture warehouse. We're going to say, start off. 2 pest control employees died and another was hospitalized after fumigating a Pompano Beach furniture warehouse in April. Have you heard about this one?
No, I haven't.
A Broward medical examiner's report released Friday ruled acute toxic effects of a chemical in the gas they used as the cause of death of one of the workers.
Vikane, probably.
Yeah. Yep. A chemical company that sold the pest control company the gas told state investigators that over 100 gas canisters may have been mishandled, according to the report. What? The report does not say whether the mishandling could have caused the deaths or if the company is under investigation. Leon, I'm going to use names here. Leon Johnson, 64, was found dead in a truck outside his Hollywood apartment the night of April 22nd. Hours after he and 2 other employees of Anderson Pest Control had fumigated a furniture warehouse in Pompano Beach, according to the report. A second employee from Boynton Beach died later that day, but the medical examiner's report for his death has not yet been released. The owner of the company and the third employee involved in the fumigation was hospitalized later that day. He was very cautious, his wife told South Florida Sentinel on Saturday. So what the report says coming out is kind of unbelievable. A neighbor had found Johnson sitting in his truck, unresponsive, with a sign in the back window that read, "Danger, deadly poison," according to the medical examiner's report.
What?
Hollywood police responded and broke the truck window open. Soon after, fire rescue arrived and declared Johnson dead. Hazmat teams tested the truck for chemicals, and all the tests came back negative. Investigators later found multiple other signs reading "Danger, deadly poison." They determined the poison referenced by the sign to be sulfuryl fluoride, Vikane, a gas commonly used in fumigations, according to the EPA. The next day, investigators contacted Anderson, who told them he was in intensive care at the VA Medical Center at West Palm Beach. He was somewhat confused and in and out of conversation with minor slurring, investigators wrote. He told investigators he knew all about the deaths of Johnson and the other employee, referring to only as Jason in the report. The 3 men fumigated the large warehouse earlier in the day, he said, but were outside the whole time, running hoses from the outside to the inside with sulfuryl fluoride canisters attached. Jack, do you believe that?
I'm fucking speechless, and it.
No. I meant to be specifically, that they were outside the whole time.
No, I don't. I don't believe that. And I tell you, and I'm to jump in on that real quick. There's a company whose name is a directional point of the compass, in a manner of speaking, and in Mid-Atlantic State, they were doing the same thing. They were shooting a house, had it tented and everything. And when they started shooting, someone asked if the pilot lights were off on the gas stove. So these 2 dudes thought they could hold their breath and run in the front door and straight to the kitchen, check the pilot lights, make sure they're out, and come back. But motherfuck, man, those guys tried to hold their breath. They didn't get 3 steps into the fucking front door and dropped.
Yeah. I mean, fumigant goes through walls. I'm pretty sure it can go through skin, But anyway, there are. Let's move on in this story, okay? After attaching the canisters and turning them on, the men returned to the truck parked outside of the warehouse, where they began to feel sick. Anderson said he attributed it to exhaustion and dehydration. All 3 men had been working for 32 to 36 hours before the fumigation and had begun the fumigation at 3 a.m. 32 to 36 hours they had been working. That's bullshit. I don't care. No money in the world is worth that. Oh God! 6 hours later, around 9. Yeah.
Why do you start shooting at that fucking time, anyways?
I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say I know everything there is to know about fumigation, but after you 3 men, you got 3 guys that have worked more than a day and a half or around a day and a half, and then they're going to release a fume again.
That's all kinds of wrong. That's all kinds of wrong.
I mean, who's the one saying we got to get this done?
Yeah, I've done a number of fumigations, and there's these big sand ballast bags that one truck has to carry all them because they're fucking heavy. Because once you get the tarp, the tent on the fucking building, you go and you run the line not connected to the tank. You just run the line into the house, put the tent on, put the ballasts on to hold that tent to the ground around the building so the wind doesn't come blow up a corner of it and start poofing gas out the side.
Yeah.
And that hose goes back like 20 or 30 feet at minimum to the truck that you're carrying the canisters on.
Mm-hmm.
And, you've got fans set up in the house to help move this stuff around inside.
Yeah. And
you're back away from the building and you're shooting. Now, they didn't just stand 30, 50 foot back and get a dose of Vikane. There's no way. No, something else. There is something not being told here.
Yeah, absolutely. Without question. Yeah. Somebody went in there or somebody got close. Mistakes were made. I mean, dude, these guys have been working for 32 to 36 hours before they even fumed. Okay. Let's go on. 6 hours later, around 9:30 a.m. that morning, Jason began vomiting and Anderson told him to go home. The report states. An hour later, Johnson started vomiting and Anderson told him to lie down in the truck. That was his last lie down. Johnson slept for a few hours, then woke up still feeling a little sick, returned to work. They finished the fumigation around 2 or 3 p.m. Okay, so they've been working 32 to 36 hours. Let's throw another, and started the fumigation around 3 o'clock. Let's tack another 12 hours onto that. Around this time, Anderson also began to feel sick. Johnson took Anderson's truck home, while Anderson said he would have someone pick him up. Soon after Anderson returned home, he was hospitalized, the report states. His family members told investigators he'd been working with pesticide his whole life and had never had an incident before. Pest control was something he did for over 40 years, so he's very cautious with what he did, Smith said. That was his career that he loved. Something is up. Something else happened.
Oh, yeah, something serious happened, and someone trying to cover their ass by not, that's throwing victims under the bus. And I'm sorry to sit on a job for that long. I mean, you get something tented, and if you got to come back the next day and continue working before you even shoot gas, that's fine. But you shoot in the afternoon, and you pay someone to sit and babysit the fume overnight. They sit at least 50 foot away. They sit in their truck. They play their video games. They eat their pizza, but they stay awake, and they make sure no one approaches the building.
Exactly.
You babysit the fume, and then when you come back the next day, that's when you clear it. You don't fucking work people 36 fucking hours.
No, you don't. I don't care who you are. I don't care how small of a company you are. If you're that small that you can't have this done in shifts, you got no business doing fumes.
No business whatsoever.
No.
You should.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, your fume license should be taken away from you.
You're goddamn right it should.
That's bullshit. People are dead now. Yeah, people are dead because you wanted to make money. Fuck you. You could suck it.
No, you can definitely fucking suck it. And speaking of which, we do have a you can suck it story.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes, we do. Are you ready?
Let's hit it.
All right. It's short but sweet. You good?
Yeah.
Our friend who sent this in says, "Hi, Jack. Hope you're doing well. If you could, I have a you can suck it story for my boss cheating us by not giving me a fuel card. Instead, he gave me $50 cash for fuel. And, well, I have receipts that prove it takes $120 in fuel a week. So this guy's putting out another $70 worth of gas money because his boss only gave him $50 in gas cash. He goes, I'd prefer to stay anonymous. Y'all's creativity is unmatched. Rip him a new one. Not a problem. We got you.
Yeah. I hope your dick turns yellow and shrivels. Then when you're asleep, a bunch of ants mistake it for a Frito.
I hope you get shit on your dick after a blowjob.
I hope there's a vein in every kielbasa you eat.
Oh, I hope you wake up and you have your testicles have moved to the bottom of your feet.
I hope every shit you take from now on is the kind where you wipe 52 times, but you still end up with skid marks.
I hope your mom comes home really, really, really drunk and Percocet it out of her mind and tries to suck your dick.
Oh, damn! I hope your next boss is 30 years younger than you,
with a chip on his fucking shoulder.
Amen. 4'2".
Short man syndrome.
That's right.
Goddamn.
Is
Fuck
there
that
anything
motherfucker.
word? Oh shit! Well, damn it,
Motherfucker,
Jack.
get a goddamn gas card, motherfucker. Goddamn,
That's
come
right. Yeah, get a gas card and suck it.
on. Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
That was a good show, my friend. But,
Yeah, it was, and but yeah. I wanted to make mention. I would like everybody to keep my brother Daryl, beloved member of the Mod Squad, and my brother for the past almost 59 years. He had his good buddy Roscoe. Is waiting for him at the Rainbow Bridge now. And that was a good boy, and they had to finally make that decision today, and so Daryl's a little down. He's relieved Roscoe's out of pain, but it's going to be a lonely place over at his place. So let's all give Daryl some good thoughts and some prayers and hopefully his heart will heal. Dogs. I love dogs. I've been a dog man all my life. They steal your heart and then unfortunately they break it. But
well, we love you, Daryl, and I'm so sorry for your loss, man. I truly am, and I hope that you find comfort knowing that Roscoe is no longer hurting and waiting for you. Because I saw this cool little TikTok about this dog standing out in the field, and it goes, "When you finally make it to heaven, your dog's sitting there waiting for you." This dog just goes nuts, running towards the person. So that's going to happen. Y'all going to be hanging out again. But Daryl, I'm so sorry. Truly am.
So am I, man. Love you, brother. So next couple of weeks, Jack, we're coming into hiatus season. Apparently,
we are.
Yeah.
We got the next 2 weeks. We're going to be off because Brad's going to be on vacation in Tennessee, and hopefully you find some actual moonshine down there. That'd be awesome.
I'm hoping I'm not only moonshine, but I'm hoping to find some actual cheese bags. So I'm going to have a good stash of magnets and some Tales from the Crawl Space stickers with me. So if we get to meet up while I'm down there in the beautiful God's country, I'll hook you up with a little bit of swag.
I tell you what, I'll do the same thing because Friday, October 13th, I'm going to be there from the 12th through the 16th in Myrtle Beach. So if we have any Myrtle Beach area cheese bags, I'll have some stickers and stuff with me for you. So if you want to get together and have a beer or something and I'll give you a little bit of swag, we'll work something out. No problem. Just give me a holler. Weekend of October 13th, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But
okay, so
you want to tell them about the next show?
Well, I was going to remind them that over the next couple of weeks while we're not around, be sure to check out the shit that goes on in our heads, and also Mike and Jeremy Steal Your Podcast. And if you're the gamer type, Beers of War is also an awesome podcast. My buddy Brandon is one of the hosts on that, and they like to talk about stuff that you might have an interest in. So check those out. Check those guys out at Beers of War. Beers of War is a pretty cool show. But we'll be back on the 6th. We will be back on Friday, October 6th, and we want to talk about some of the hacks that we use on our, on a daily basis throughout our lives and pest control. And, if you've got something that, you're thinking out of the box to solve a problem or just to make your life a little less fucking sucky, just let us know. And you let us know what it is, and we'll share it with everybody else. Let's share our knowledge. Let's share our hacks. And Jack, I know I've got a couple. You probably got a couple, and I know there's thousands of cheese bags out there that have some of their own. We'd love to hear them. So be sure to message us on Pest Control Humor Depot, my favorite group, PCHD.
But the Poonce is already taken by Brad. He's already mentioned that, the little Poonce for his balls.
Oh, the Pooncy, yes, that's right.
You can't bring that one up because Brad has already told us about how he lovingly dabs his balls with the Poonce.
Indeed, I have, haven't I? Yes, yeah. The Pooncy has prevented a lot of chafing in my life, man.
Poonce.
Poonce. Yeah, a little cloud of dust in the morning, just emanating, just wafting from the bathroom with the lights on. Yeah, it's great.
But my neck, my back, my pussy, and my crack.
My crack. Jesus Christ. So yeah, buddy. Yeah, my neck, my back. Let's hear your fucking hacks, man. All right.
Damn right. Tips, tricks, hacks, anything that's made your life easier on the job that you came up with.
Right. Yeah. Y'all got 2 weeks to get them to us, man. So let's get them in, man.
Yep, hell yeah. Load us up, and we'll have them for the show, and we'll give you full credit for it. And hey, if it's something that takes a little bit of conniving or putting together, give us directions, show us how, so everybody else can benefit from it.
Absolutely. So hey, I just want to give one more quick shout out to Dan Bird, to Robert A., to Mario, and to my amigo Sancho for helping us out with today's show.
His
you guys are
pantalones
awesome.
are en fuego.
And indeed they are. So, hey, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. On behalf of Jack, myself, Tales from the Crawl Space Podcast, Pest Control Humor Depot, my favorite group, we're going to invite you all to bug the hell off.
Bug off.
Y'all come back now. You hear?
Thanks for listening to Tales from the Crawl Space Podcast. You can find us on just about every single podcast outlet there is online. So be sure to subscribe, and we'll have a new episode next week. Don't forget, you can find us on Instagram at TFTC Podcast, on Twitter at Crawl Space Tales, and you can also find us on Facebook at the Pest Control Humor Depot. See you next week.